John Bright, though he never attained high office, was generally accepted by his contemporaries as the greatest orator of his day. In his most celebrated speech of 1855, calling for a cessation of hostilities in the Crimea, he expressed the British middle class's fear and horror in the midst of war. These were sentiments the ruling classes rarely had to contend with in their own breasts, and when he had finished, the House sat silent, as if stunned.
I shall not say one word here about the state of the army in the Crimea, or one word about its numbers or its condition. Every member of this House, every inhabitant of this country, has been sufficiently harrowed with details regarding it. To my solemn belief, thousands, nay, scores of thousands of persons have retired to rest night after night, whose slumbers have been disturbed or whose dreams have been based upon the sufferings and agonies of our soldiers in the Crimea. I should like to ask the noble lord at the head of the government, although I am not sure if he will feel that he can or ought to answer the question, whether the noble lord, the member for London, has power, after discussions have commenced, and as soon as there shall be established good grounds for believing that the negotiations for peace will prove successful, to enter into any armistice. I know not, sir, who it is that says no, no, but I should like to see any man get up and say that the destruction of 200,000 human lives lost on all sides during the course of this unhappy conflict is not a sufficient sacrifice. You are not pretending to conquer territory. You are not pretending to hold fortified or unfortified towns. You have offered terms of peace, which, as I understand them, I do not say are not moderate. And breathes there a man in this house or in this country whose appetite for blood is so insatiable that even when terms of peace have been offered and accepted, he pines for that assault in which, of Russian, Turk, French, and English, as sure as one man dies, 20,000 corpses will strew the streets of Sebastopol. I appeal to the noble lord at the head of the government and to this House. I am not now complaining of the war. I am not now complaining of the terms of peace, nor indeed of anything that has been done. But I wish to suggest to this House what I believe thousands and tens of thousands of the most educated and of the most Christian portion of the people of this country are feeling upon this subject, although indeed in the midst of a certain clamor in the country, they do not give public expression to their feelings. Your country is not in an advantageous state at this moment. From one end of the kingdom to the other, there is a general collapse of industry. At the same time, there is growing up, and notwithstanding what some honorable members of this House may think of me, no man regrets it more than I do, a bitter and angry feeling against that class which has for a long period conducted the public affairs of this country. I do not suppose that your troops are to be beaten in actual conflict with the foe, or that they will be driven into the sea, but I am certain that many homes in England in which there now exists a fond hope that the distant one may return, many such homes may be rendered desolate when the next mail shall arrive. The angel of death has been abroad throughout the land. You may almost hear the beating of his wings. There is no one, as when the firstborn were slain of old, to sprinkle with blood the lintel and the two side posts of our doors, that he may spare and pass on. He takes his victims from the castle of the noble, the mansion of the wealthy, and the cottage of the poor and the lowly. And it is on behalf of all these classes that I make this solemn appeal. I am sure that the noble lord is not inaccessible to appeals made to him from honest motives and with no unfriendly feeling. The noble lord has been, for more than 40 years, a member of this House. Before I was born, he sat upon the treasury bench, and he has spent his life in the service of his country. He is no longer young, and his life has extended almost to the term allotted to man. I would entreat the noble lord to take a course which, when he looks back upon his whole political career, whatever he may therein find to be pleased with, whatever to regret, cannot but be a source of gratification to him. By adopting that course, he would have the satisfaction of reflecting that, having obtained the object of his laudable ambition, having become the foremost subject of the crown, the director of, it may be, the destinies of his country, and the presiding genius in her councils, he had achieved a still higher and nobler ambition, that he had returned the sword to the scabbard, and at his word torrents of blood had ceased to flow, that he had restored tranquility to Europe and saved this country from the indescribable calamities of war.